how is California? I wore this shirt in honor of your in honor of the cocktail you're making for us tonight, man. How are you? Are you holding up in these strange times, sir?
Yeah, we're good. Thank you. Thank you. Hope the same for you.
I am. I mean,
Yeah,
if I'm wearing this shirt, it means things are kind of going right,
right.
right?
Gotta take it one day at a time.
That's exactly right. So you have a very storied, I guess we'll call it a career, infamous run of things that have happened over the last few years. This is hilarious. I saw this in your bio, and you probably talk about this quite a bit. So you are the U.S. Brand ambassador for Jack Daniel's. Very important role. But let's roll it back to your earlier career. You've worked at several crazy clubs in Los Angeles. I believe you started off on the East Coast, but you you have a claim to the shot, the surfer on acid. Let's talk. Let's talk drinks, man.
Yeah, true story, true story. Anyone that's ever had it, I apologize.
Needed
The
to be said.
Yeah, look, when I was 22, 21 and just started bartending, Jaeger was becoming super popular, and it wasn't my thing at the time. My palate wasn't really ready for that kind of flavor. That was an era of a lot of syrups and a lot of cordials that were kind of not awesome, but that was what I was used to. And then along comes Jaeger, and I was like, man, I don't know if I can do this. And I guess my go-to at the time to make anything taste good, which is probably very evident in the cocktail we're going to have in a minute, is pineapple and coconut. And I was like, I wonder if that trick works on Jaeger. So I made a shot with Jaeger pineapple and a coconut rum, and it wasn't bad. And at the bar, people started drinking it. I think honestly, like I had some really humble name like ET's Awesome Shot, and it really wasn't taking. And like one night, I don't know, a bunch of like young guys came in, 21, 22, and they ordered 10 Surfer on acids. And
Mm.
I'm like, what is that shot? And they proceeded to tell me like it's Irish cream and banana liqueur and actual cream, and I think it was like 10 ingredients. I made it for them. They drank it. They walked away, and you know I was like, that shot will never go anywhere. And I said it's a pretty good name though, so figuring the shot would go nowhere, I took their name, put it on my drink, and lo and behold, a few bartenders found out about it, and then Jaeger found out about it, and they started pushing it as a shot on their like cocktail deck, and it just took off from there.
Well, I'll say this: congrats on that, but cheers to moving on and greener pastures
Yeah, look, it's
into the
funny now.
world.
I actually enjoy the Jaeger, the Amaros and Jaeger and stuff like that, but back then that was just not my thing.
It's trouble. So you're located in Los Angeles. I assume you've had some history at some of the crazy rock clubs, and you don't make your way to U.S. brand ambassador for a brand like Jack Daniel's without some love for the brand itself. But I guess just give us a peek into how do you get approached? How does a brand that's iconic like Jack Daniel's come up to you and say, "You're the guy. Like this is what's happening now. I'm going to need you to speak on our behalf. You're going to make cocktails for podcasts in St. Louis, and you get to live out all your wildest dreams."
Right, right. Good question. You know, I think I got to Jack through music. Jack himself was a big fan of music. He used to sponsor this band back in Lynchburg in his day, the Silver Coronet Band. I think he bought instruments through Sears and Roebuck and supplied this local band that would play in the town square. So music was always part of Jack, even back, in 1800s. And for me, my father was all Sinatra all the time, and my mother basically, you know, I would say bred rock and roll to me in utero, and both those worlds kind of meet at Jack Daniel's. So I think the Sinatra effect and famous rock pictures of people I idolized drinking Jack Daniel's, I would say influenced my decision to try it for the first time. But over the years, you become an adult, you can drink whatever you want, and it was always the whiskey in the bottle that kept me coming back for more. And the last gig I had in LA, I was there 15 years, my best gig. And I don't know, for some reason, but the owner, when he built the bar, he had three restaurants in LA that were super iconic in mind that he was trying to nod to. And one of them was the Rainbow Bar and Grill, where, all the rock stars hung out in the 70s and 80s. And as a homage to that place, he put a wall of Jack Daniels above the bar. So when I got the job there, I was like, did I die and go to heaven? It's like Nirvana here. And, because of that, a lot of the Jack people would come into that bar. And even back in the day, our previous distiller, Jimmy Bedford, would come in, and I was like, this is the greatest gig ever. Like, Jack people come in here, they give you Jack stuff, and it's awesome. And they started realizing what a fan I was. So, it was like one of those things where it just kind of started. Hey, do you think you might be able to host this dinner for us? Hey, do you think you can develop cocktails for us? And, you know, yeah, sure, great. And it
Worked
just
your way
kept
in.
going and going. I remember the first time I left LA to do a job for them, it was in San Diego. And, Jack's, it's not a small company. It's like, keep your mileage, we'll reimburse you for everything. And I remember the woman I was working with, I was like, the mileage thing, you could also just pay me in whiskey. And she's
Ah,
like, what do you mean? I'm like, I know you have a trunk full of whiskey. Every rep I've ever met has their product in the back of the car. So sure enough, after the gig, she's like, here you go. I'm like, this is really awesome. And
done
then
and
it just
done.
kept evolving. And before you know it, here I am.
No, that's fantastic, and we're having a lot of fun tonight because of that, and because of the relationship you guys form, and it's been fun so far. I don't know if you caught any of DJ Murph. That was a blast. We're gonna have some
Yeah,
great
super fun.
comics roasting Tiger King. Have you seen Tiger King?
I have. I have.
See, I'm so close to cutting a Tiger King quarantine haircut, man. It's like really
Y-
creeping up on me.
Do it. Do it. I think
Okay,
everyone that watches your show will love that
I think they'll
for
understand
all
it.
the right reasons.
Right. Maybe I can get you to jump in on it and we'll get some views
Hey, I
with
need a
that.
haircut, so let's do it.
It's rough, man. So, okay, so let's get away from the rough part. Let's get to the good part. You've got a
Yes.
cocktail for us tonight, and this is an
Yes.
honor to have somebody with your skill set and resume dropping the knowledge on us that I guess really you can make do. You have some Jack Daniels and then some items around the house. Take it away, man. What inspired this, and where is it best enjoyed? What room of the house while we're all locked up in quarantine?
You know, yeah, it's the question I get most right now is like, hey, what can I make at home? Because obviously people are running out of supplies and certain things, you prioritize. You need Jack Daniels, but you might not be supplying your home bar with everything you normally would have. And so I just started rooting through my kitchen and said, what could I, you know, if I was going to make a drink and I didn't have all the things I have, what would I do? And I started opening cabinets. You know, I talk about this a little bit in the drink thing, but back in the 70s and 80s, my family would host Father's Day barbecues,
Very
and
nice.
they're in the summer. So my dad always, he's one of those people that, and my mother as well, they really want their guests to feel like like you're rolling up to the Ritz. Like there's nothing you need to do when you get to my parents' house for even just dinner. But this was like the big annual event. And after a year or two, my dad was like, it's so hot and sunny and people want to refresh and relax. And he started making pina coladas, and they got so popular and the barbecue just kept growing. I think they got to like 100 people. So the week before Father's Day, I just remember my dad in the kitchen with a blender and making pina coladas by the batch and putting them in freezer tubs and freezing them. And he had this whole system where as soon as one of the, uh, you know, pitcher things would be halfway done, he'd bring one out of the freezer. So by the time it melted a little bit, ready to rock and roll. And this went on, and it kind of started my love for pina coladas. And then my wife and I honeymooned in Hawaii, which pretty much you just throw everything out the window and everything
Right.
has to have an umbrella. And um, and I was like, we're all stuck inside. Some people might have better views than others, but you're not going anywhere. So, you know, uh, I said, what could I make here? And I really wanted to make my dad's famous recipe, but I didn't have all the ingredients, but I found enough of them to kind of fudge it enough. And it's good. It works and it does the right thing. And to answer your question, what room you want to be in, the one that makes you the happiest, the one where the music's on and the one where, there's no computer bothering you with an email from work from last week. Just chill out. Recently I just discovered or rediscovered the artist Melanie from the 70s, folk
Sure.
singer. And she has a song, a Bob Dylan cover. Was it Don't Think Twice, It's All Right? And it just kind of, it's good advice for us now, right? Like
Absolutely.
another phrase of my father's was, too much thinking is no good, which I think he got from his mother, which, and that with the song, it's very much resonating with me where, hey, we can't control everything that's happening right now. All we can do is make the best of what's happening in our world. And sometimes that might be you know, off the cuff pina colada in your man cave or she shed or together somewhere, just tuning out the world and saying, hey, let's relax.
That's perfect. I think that the room was in our heart all along.
Right,
That's why we
exactly.
drink it. Matt, our producer, we can flash, we'll show some ingredients real quick, and then we'll actually show a video of this being made. So this is the Staycation. This also inspired my formal wear for this evening. Real quick for the Staycation, look at this. Somebody's a graphic designer. 1.5 ounces Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey, 2 cups frozen pineapple and strawberry, third cup of coconut milk, 1 ounce orange juice, blend all until smooth, and then enjoy. I like where this is headed, and I want to see how this is made. So we're going to roll this video, and we'll see the Staycation masterpiece from ET.
Today I'm going to make a quarantine cocktail that anyone can make from home. This one was inspired by my wedding anniversary, which was 2 weeks ago, and my wife and I had this great weekend getaway planned, and for obvious reasons we had to stay home. I really wanted to try to give my wife a little bit of a change of vibe since the scenery is not changing. And to do that, I wanted to make this drink that we both love, which is a pina colada, especially on vacation. And it's based on this secret family recipe my dad came up with years ago, but I don't have the ingredients. So I scoured my kitchen and I found stuff that would make a very good home pina colada. Of course, we're going to start with Jack Daniel's. One thing I've discovered over the years about drinking and working with Jack Daniel's, it does well in tropical drinks and tiki style drinks, so it's going to do very well in this homemade pina colada. The other thing is frozen fruit. Luckily I had some pineapple and strawberry which will go well in this, and because it's frozen, it acts as an ice cube and it's going to chill down the drink when you blend it. I also discovered we had coconut milk in our pantry, which I did not know we had. And then a little bit of OJ. When you're blending, you need some liquid in there to kind of get that blender rolling. And that's all you have to do is put it in the blender, press play. A few seconds later, we're going to bring the vacation we wanted to take home for a staycation. Enjoy the cocktail, get creative in your own kitchen, and stay safe. Happy anniversary, baby. Aloha.
Aloha indeed. Look, was she the final edit on that one? She's like, we need more of you talking to me in this situation.
Yeah, she's like, if you ever had a chance to wear that awful sport jacket you bought 9 years ago, here it is. Put it on.
Well, happy anniversary to you too.
Thank you.
The Staycation is a hell of a way to support that. So again, cheers again. Thanks to Jack Daniels for making this happen. Everybody here, wait, let's do this one. We're gonna do the split screen cheers. There it is.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Am I getting there yet?
Other side. I believe in you, ET.
I'm not good at this. There we go.
Boom.
There we go.
Cheers. Cheers to you. We're going to bring our comic friends on in just a bit. I do want to know, so music and spirits brought you into the fold at Jack Daniel's, so we don't have to go with the best show you've ever seen. Somebody's probably been to a million shows, has several to pick from, but I guess some of the more inspiring times that you've seen live music. Let's hear it, man. You've got all those great show posters behind you on the in the setup, so I appreciate that. But give me some of your best live shows you've seen.
Look, I have to start off by saying I am Zeppelin obsessed, and Sinatra is a big part of my life, and Sinatra sang the words. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. In 2007, Led Zeppelin reunited for one night only and did a lottery for 20,000 tickets, and 20 million people tried to win. I did not win. And I had a chance to buy one ticket for a lot of money and fly to London. And a friend of mine that knew someone at a big ticket company said they're touring. They just haven't announced it yet. So I hedged my bets and did not go. And that is the only regret I think I have in life. Missing that show. And there's a guy listening right now. His name is Keith. And he's really not a great guy because he had a ticket and he already had seen Zeppelin twice and he didn't give me his ticket. So he should turn this off now because no one likes him. Yeah. But shows I have seen, first show I ever saw was Neil Diamond. And I was 11, I think. And I went kicking and screaming. My parents made me go and I left a lifelong fan. The guy is a rock star. Shows I chose to go to. In college, I saw Pink Floyd at the Carrier Dome at Syracuse. It's a pretty epic show. Think childhood friend of mine in nursery school, Mike Cook, and I went to that show. We both ended up going to college together, and that was a great experience. I saw Plant. First time I saw anyone from Led Zeppelin, I saw Jimmy Page in college, but the first time I saw anyone really doing Zeppelin was Plant in, I think, 1990, and seen him since. But one of the highlights would be one of their most recent memories. I went back to Philly, where I'm from, to visit my mom and my sister and kids and her husband, and Plant was playing in Philly, and I got like my cousin, my buddy Cook, and a bunch of other friends all together, and we went and saw Robert Plant, and it was outdoors in the summer, and it was amazing. He still sounds amazing, and I'd have to say that was a pretty magical show just because of the vibe and who was there.
Absolutely.
Another show that a non-Zeppelin related experience that really stands out, I saw Bowie in London in the 90s, and I think it was the Sound and Vision tour, so everything was in black and white, and he did this thing where he stood in front of a screen that he already recorded and did the show like move for move. It was I don't know how he did it, but it was pretty incredible. And he's a talented guy. Was a really talented guy.
So you only go to just the greatest people who've ever played an instrument or performed those shows, right?
If you're gonna take your time and go out, I mean, look, there's also you run into like bands you've never even heard of. I go to Jazz Fest every year with a bunch of guys I grew up with, and now a bunch of guys from LA come with us. And yeah, there's the main stage, and there'll be this cool show and someone that you're waiting to see all day. But then you just slide up on like the blues tent or the Zydeco tent, and you just get entranced by someone you never heard of, and now you go buy the album, and now you're a fan of someone, and that's how stuff happens, I guess. Zeppelin didn't start in Madison Square Garden,
Feels like they did. They
right.
just came out
Them, it kind of does. It kind of does.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? I guess I know Jack Daniels is super involved with events and pushing different things, but I guess in your role, when things hopefully clear up, maybe by summer, whenever things do clear up, we're allowed back out of the house. What do you want to do? What do you want to get out professionally and then personally? Give me two answers. What do you want to do with the brand? What do you want to do with yourself and getting out and enjoying yourself?
Look, it's really, that's a tough question, because right now there's just so much turmoil in that industry, and it's really kind of hard to see past day to day. Like right now, our only goal is how can we support the bar and restaurant industry, and even musicians as well. Like Brown Foreman, who owns Jack, I think they donated like $1 million to the Bartenders Guild and restaurant workers and music people, and we do these concerts every Friday night, these live streaming concerts with artists that want to help too, and try to raise as much money. And locally, what can we do in LA, or what can I do in different cities to help these out of work people that are so supportive of our brand and just supportive of all of us, right? We all go out, we all go to dinner, we all go to restaurants and bars. And so that's really, how do we get through this together, and what can we do to help? And it's honestly, like, I have a job, I have a wife, we have 4 dogs, it's great, but I still stress out because I feel like there's a never ending amount of things to do to kind of, be doing the right things, and we just don't know what those right things are day to day. So once we get past that, it's really just getting back out there, and I have a lot of friends around in the industry, and I can't travel right now, so it's kind of a, phone and this kind of stuff is great to connect. And my wife was saying the other night, like, what if we didn't have technology? What if we didn't have Netflix for Tiger King, or podcasts to listen to, or music? It's I can't even imagine a world that we're bummed out and we can do all this stuff. Imagine what you'd be doing 100 years ago. But it's nice. I look forward to getting out there and reconnecting. And then on a personal level, seeing my family again. My mom's in Philly, and I miss getting, when I travel, I get to dip into Philly a little bit and see my mom, my sister, the kids, and, all that good stuff. And my wife's family whenever we get to travel a little bit further south. So that's tough, but we're all dealing with it together. And I just hope, because it is such a weird and unique time for all of us,
Yeah.
I hope we just kind of pay attention to each other, and especially the ones that are closest to you and the ones that you love, and check in and make sure they're doing okay, because as much as someone might say, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, they might not be. And I would hate to see anyone suffering that doesn't have to, just because they can reach out. So, I always say, we do this thing at Jack called Phone It Forward, where I try to make a couple calls every day, and we hope that catches on. And instead of just throwing a text out, just call someone you love, call a coworker, a friend that you don't see, and make sure they're good and put a smile on their face. And then hopefully someone does it for you.
I think that's what's happening right now. Was this corporate ordered that you had to talk to me? Like this Chris guy seems kind of down in St. Louis. You need to chat with him. No, ET.
No, man. They were like, "Hey, this guy's fun. Go see him."
Well, with this shirt on, again, it's proof.
Hey, you and Magnum PI are about the only two people that can pull that off.
I'm upset I didn't get the full. I was thinking about the full stash for this evening, but then I was like, "Oh, these comics are really talented. I don't feel like walking out."
You don't want to be the victim.
Yeah, let's
right?
not give them any more. I'm sure there's a lot coming up. So, well, ET, again, thanks to Brown Forman. That $1 million donation to the USBG was fantastic. I saw that.
Yeah, well, it was split up a couple charities, but a lot went there. But it was restaurant workers and USBG and some local Louisville where our corporate office is. But yeah, it's $1 million, and it got to the right people, and we keep doing more.
Yeah, it makes sense, and we'll keep supporting you guys, and I appreciate you coming on, man. Thanks for the one more time on the Staycation drink. On the let's see the flash of that. We'll see the ingredients. You all can make this at home. It was made with Jack Daniels and then some ingredients our guy ET found around the house.
And look, honestly, if you don't have those frozen fruits, throw anything in there. It'll work. Throw a banana in there.
Peppermints, whatever you got.
Peppermint might make that. Now you're getting a little. You could use peppermint. You know what you can do if you want to make a syrup? Melt peppermint in water, like an old candy cane or grandma's candies. Melt it down with water. Now you'll have a flavored simple syrup for your next fun invention.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure we do that. Another quarantine cocktail. So, ET,
thank
you so much, man. It was great to chat with you. We're going to have to do it again sometime. Keep up the great work.
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.